Good. I'm about to open a Nuevo Fresco.
Bands, brews, and bullshit. Bands, brews, and bullshit.
How's it going, man? How's it going, man?
Yep.
Yeah, I hear you good.
Yep.
I'm waiting to see the actual stream pop up so I can see the format. Cool. Format. Cool. Cool. Is that the banana gem? Yeah. With that. Yeah. With that. You should cover that logo. You should cover that logo on the top, though. You're gonna get canceled. Oh, I've been great, man. Not much changed for me. Not much changed. If anything, it's like been better. I don't know.
Really?
How about you? Yeah, what about you, Madison?
Well, I've always been somewhat of a homebody, so not much has really changed for me too. I worked remote even before the pandemic. So I just continued to work remote, and yeah, so not much has really changed for me.
Yeah, no. As far as for me, it's like when COVID first started, I was already working from home. I was just doing someone in chat says, Joe, you're not heard. You can't be heard.
Oh, can you hear me now?
No, I can't hear you at all unless you're talking. I'm not sure.
Oh, hold on one second. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I can hear you.
There we go. All right, sorry about that.
No problem. So when COVID first started, I already worked from home, and like I said, in the middle of COVID is when I first started talking to my friend Adam Barron, who was in Vallon, was gonna open a tattoo shop like in the middle of summer of 2020. And so I just started helping him out there, and I was doing my full-time job from his shop and stuff like that. And that's how I ended up getting involved there. It's just working while I was there.
That's pretty awesome. So you pretty much were able to start something that I guess you were pretty passionate about?
Yeah, I guess like when I was younger, being early 20s, I was exposed to tattooing a lot just because our merch guy was a tattoo artist, and we'd be hanging out at his shop a lot. And then somewhere down the line, parents started tattooing. I might have said like, hey, you ever wanna apprentice? I'll do it, like as a joke. But then it worked out, you know.
So I mean, it's pretty cool to see from what I remember when we were younger. I mean, you started with photography, right? I mean, that was sort of your art to start off with, along with music. Am I wrong? Am I right?
My parents were photographers, so I've been taking pictures since I was 10 years old. So I recently started doing that more often.
That's pretty awesome, man. I really dig that. So what about you, Madison? What's been your thing keeping you going currently with everything that's going absolutely batshit crazy?
I work for a guitar company called Vallon Guitars. So even though everything's been kind of crazy due to COVID, my work schedule has been just kind of crazy just due to like last year. Surprisingly, I think at the height of the pandemic, we all started getting like the the checks, the stimulus checks,
Mm-hmm.
and so we had a lot of people that were at home who either probably were just interested in getting a new piece of musical equipment, or um, people who just wanted to start learning how to play guitar and wanted their first guitar. So we got a ton of orders last year when we were actually pretty scared, but we didn't know what was going to happen. So we actually did really well last year, and the beginning of this year has been really crazy too, with a bunch of new models and stuff like that. So that's pretty much all I've been doing is just guitar work.
So I mean, like, what what sort of goes into the whole guitar work process? Is it like, someone comes in or goes online and orders like what they want, and then someone designs it, or?
So we basically have what we call semi-custom, where we
Okay.
offer a series of different models, guitar models and bass models that you can pick from, and then we have an online configurator where you can go online and basically build out what guitar you would want with whatever model we offer, with a bunch of different headstock shapes, finishing options, core woods, top woods, fretboard woods, all that stuff. And then when you come to where you think, this is it, this is the guitar I want, you place the order button, we review the order, and then we have a workshop that makes it, we do all the quality control, and then we send it out to the customer.
That's pretty awesome, man. So you get to see the process from start to finish. Start to beginning. Jesus Christ, I had one sip of beer. Start to finish, and it's kind of like that person's piece of art. You kind of like made their piece of art come true. So that's kind of cool to see. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And then with Jimmy here, you're doing the apprentice work. It must be fun to get in some you were saying line work.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary because I've just started, like, in the last month. I've been practicing on real people, and it's like, I don't know, like, I never thought it'd be something that would make you nervous, but every time it's like you kind of go into it realizing that the person's like trusting you to put something on them, and all of a sudden you like forget how to draw and like how to hold a machine, and it just gets scary for like a second, and you get over it.
So is it like, I know it's gonna sound like a fucking stupid question, but is it like vibrating your hands? So is it hard to keep it still, or do you not? Because I noticed they wrap the shit out of it with like ace bandage as like a grip thing. Some people.
Yeah, it's some kind of like special tape a lot of guys use, but it's like vibrating, but you know, it's really just about like getting your hand down and having a good base and just kind of using your wrist to move the machine along and stuff like that.
So you get a lot of wrist control. Years of practice.
Yeah, years of practice.
Years of practice.
We gross joke.
I didn't say anything. It was just God damn it. So, fellas, what were the first bands that you guys kind of started in? I'm like interested to know, because Jimmy, we played back in the day. Madison, I don't believe we played together back in the day unless you were in some band that I might have crossed paths with, maybe. But Jimmy, we played a shitload together. And when I mean a shitload, I mean I think that the first couple summers of Vallon As Good As Dead, we were together almost every other weekend.
Yeah, I mean, for that like time period when the like North Shore scene like existed and was fun, it seemed like a lot of the same bands, like a lot of the Saugus bands and us, and you know, the occasional outlier were playing either at the YMCA or like the BFW or whatever it was. For me, Vallon was like my first and pretty much only band. I've only really worked with the guys in Vallon. Like even on our new stuff, it's all the same guys. So
Get the fuck out of here. You only ever work with Vallon?
yeah, I mean, after like my time with Vallon ended, I had bands reach out to me, and I tried stuff with some people, but nothing really stuck, you know. So like I said, after my time with Vallon, the next thing I did was just, you know, when Vallon like restarted for 2 months, and then excuse me, Jesus.
Oh, that was good.
And then,
Woo!
like the Rival Colors stuff a little bit, you know.
So what made you go from So what? Wait. So what were the influences then, being in Vallon in the beginning? And Madison, I'm gonna get to you right after this here. What were the
Well,
influences with Vallon? Because
Vallon's
I
funny
know
just
Under Oath
because,
was one of them, definitely.
well, that came around, you know.
Yeah, that
But
was our time period.
when Vallon first started, it was like me and the original drummer and Baron started the group. We wanted to play like Blink-182 songs. We wanted to play like Fall Out Boy, and
Did you really?
yeah, dude, we were gonna be a pop punk band.
Get the
And
fuck.
then at at one of our practices, I just like listened to the Used for the first time or something, and just as a joke, I started screaming over one of our like first songs, and Baron was like, "Dude, that sounds sick. You should do that." So like then like we had one scream in one song, and then when we started writing newer songs, they just got like heavier. Like I'd say the first 15 songs Valen wrote were like pop punk with screaming, and then after that it was like we got more and heavier, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely dig that. I did notice that your progression was it went from like a sort of post-hardcore vibe into a metal vibe. This is what it went into.
Yeah. And our first name we were actually called Harlequin Underground when we first started. So
Really, Harlequin Underground.
that was because just like there was like a Panic at the Disco song where he said the word Harlequin, and I was like, oh, that's a cool word.
That's
and
okay.
we stuck with that.
That's awesome. And then Madison, what bands were you in when you were younger? You know, what local bands also influenced you? I'm going to come back to you, Jimmy, for that question as well.
Well, so I grew up in Connecticut. So when I was growing up, like I think my first like real band where I played shows was a band called Tightrope, which then inevitably became the band Behold Oblivion. And they were based out of Boston for a little bit. But me and those dudes grew up together in Connecticut, and
Sorry, dude. It's like I have no control over it.
I love it. It's so good.
But yeah, so like I played in Tightrope for a little bit, and then my first real band after that was a band called The Breathing Process, which that's if anything, that's probably where you might have played a show with me or seen me play or something like that. Because we played a lot. So I joined The Breathing Process probably in like 2005, I want to say,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe 2004, and played guitar initially, and then I left the band for a little bit, and then they asked me to come back, and I played keys and did backup vocals. So I played keyboards and did backup vocals for that for a while, and then we got signed to Siege of Amida, which was like a wing off of Ferret Records.
Okay. Oh, man, Ferret Records. That's a throwback, man.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Killswitch Engage was on Ferret when they first started, right?
I know Blood Has Been Shed was. I don't know about Killswitch. I think
like Every Time I Die? No.
Yeah.
Legia?
Yeah, Legia.
Misery
Yep.
Signals,
Oh, shit,
The
yeah.
Bronx.
Misery Signals, The Bronx.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. Okay.
So I did the Breathing Process for a little bit, and then after I left the Breathing Process, I did a couple more just smaller local bands, and then I ended up joining Within the Ruins, and then we signed to Victory, and then toured quite a bit with Within the Ruins, put out an album, a couple music videos and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I left Within the Ruins, I met Jimmy, and that was like right at the point in time where Jimmy was exiting Vallon. So he and I linked up and started a project together, and that's how we kind of came to be.
So, like...
Yeah, if it wasn't clear, Madison's been, like, a heavy part of Vallon since, like, I don't know.
2010?
2010, yeah. So, like, when Vallon... Like, I left Vallon, then, like, 6 months later, Vallon kind of called it quits.
Okay.
And Madison and I had already started this project called Conceiver that was kind of, like, genty, like, metal.
Okay.
And Kyle was doing that with us. And then, like, we had just finished recording, like, a whole EP with Ken Susi from Unearth. And by the time we were ready to release it, we're like, well, shit, I mean, let's just call it Vallon. And that was, like, the Rebuilding EP. And that's what Madison wrote, like, pretty much all of that. Kyle had, you know, his input here and there, but Kyle joined pretty much after the songs were written, so...
Oh, that's pretty cool, man. And yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Bringing up Ken Susi, I can actually say it tonight that May 29th, Buzz is going to come on, and we're going to shoot the shit and talk about some stuff about Unearth and the old hardcore days about Lynn and things like that. So that'll be really interesting to see. But, like, what was it like recording with Ken Susi?
He was really fun. Um, you know, it's just like he's like a party dude, and it's like cool to hang out with someone who you like listen to their band for your whole childhood and stuff like that. And it was cool that he like liked our music and like wanted to work with us because like the we met him because he was like the judge of some battle of the bands that we hopped on last minute, and he like handpicked us to play this show at Songus Arena. We ended up playing like outside Songus Arena with Suicide Silence and Psycho Stick and like Bury Your Dead. But
What?
that was Ken Susi picked us to play that show because he was like the judge of the Battle of the Bands. And then after that, he just kind of kept up with us. And when he heard Conceiver, he's like, "You gotta let me record that." So
That's pretty fucking sweet, man. That's a pretty big accomplishment. That's definitely something you're definitely, I hope, proud of.
yeah,
Um,
it was cool.
because that's cool to get some notoriety for it. So like, who were some local bands that both of you kind of were influenced by to start playing music? I mean, who, or maybe even who were some influences when you were younger? I mean,
Uh, I mean, for me, like the biggest local band that like there were two actually. Like Vanna, obviously.
hmm
Vanna was like they were right up my alley, like that like dirty hardcore sound, and they were like they were sick, and they were like the big guys around here.
hmm
But then like another band, I went to Maine to see like Fall Out Boy and Hawthorne Heights at like some stadium show.
hmm
But before that, there was like a smaller show across the street, and I saw Sparks the Rescue for the first time there. And Sparks the Rescue was just like so sick and like had awesome stage presence, and it really made me understand that like live music was sick. Like I was like, this is really sick. These guys are like tight, and like I was like blown away by like how they performed and stuff too.
it's. I think I played with them when I was in 13 at a college in like the middle of nowhere, New York. Did the keyboardist have pizza tattooed on his chest?
I don't know. I didn't see him with his shirt off,
I was
but
gonna say, I think that the keyboardist had pizza tattooed on his chest. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's the same band. But yeah, you're right. Their stage presence was absolutely unbelievable. Um, so like, what was it like, kind of coming up in Vallon? Like, who were some of the bands that you played with a lot besides us? Like, who were some other people that you played with or played out with? I know that you did a couple weekends out, right?
yeah, I mean, we did like little tours here and there. I'd say the bands we saw, like we played with the most, like there was this band called When Girls Kiss Girls. I feel like we were always on the same shows as them.
Okay.
Um, we played with like all the like As Good as Dead, 13 Yards to Victory. We played with Ice Nine Kills a ton, like all the time with those guys. There was a band from Connecticut called Lost in Ashford. We played with a lot. And then like later, it was like we played more with like Vanna and Therefore I Am and Radiation Year. Like the bigger local bands, once we were around a little longer, they started like inviting us to play shows with them and stuff like that.
That's pretty awesome. Now, like, um, Madison, in your local scene, who were some bands that you played with a lot? Because I know a lot of Connecticut hardcore was big, and Connecticut metalcore. So, like, I don't. Was there a lot of pop punk in Connecticut or no?
There was. It wasn't as like big, but there were some bands. There was a band called like Hate to Have to Go Back. There was a band called oh god, Top of the Fair, I think they were called. There was a few pretty solid ones, but I think Connecticut was more so like didn't have a ton of pop punk in my experience, but a lot of emo and a lot of like so there was like a lot of emo bands that were more prevalent than pop punk in my experience.
Like dashboard emo or like.
Well, yeah. So, like, I mean, even I briefly, when I played guitar in a band called Four Letter Story, that was kind of like Alexis on Fire kind of style stuff. So more like screamo emo stuff.
Okay.
But there was a lot of like skate punk that was almost like bordering hardcore. Um, so there was a bunch of it, just not as much in my experience because I tend to lean more to the heavy stuff, so I never really got too into the pop punk stuff.
Now,
But
what? What? Sorry to interrupt you. What were some of the known pop punk bands in the area, if you remember any of the names? Just curious.
well, they weren't big, but the drummer and singer of that screamo band that I did for a minute there, they were in a band called No Tomorrow.
Okay.
Um, and that was just like super straight up skate park punk. um, but I honestly, I don't remember too many of the pop punk bands. I
Okay.
remember a lot of hardcore and a lot of metalcore, but the big metalcore bands that I really looked up to when I was like first starting out were like the Breathing Process was a big one for Connecticut for metalcore, but then
Yeah.
also there was a band called Drought of Turin, and Drought of Turin was a really big one for me. Hardcore band wise, oh man, there was just like a plethora of CT hardcore bands that I always loved. The Brothers in Arms was amazing. Jagged Visions was amazing. Um, there's so many Connecticut hardcore bands that were just excellent.
What about you, Jimbo?
What's the question?
Who-
I'm like just finishing my first beer. I'm already like red in the face and.
Oh yeah, your face is actually red. Wow, this is kind of nice. Here we go. Party's getting started.
It's the drinking, man.
So, who are some local bands that you kind of like? I don't know, meshed with that you didn't think you would mesh with. Like, I know that you're metalcore, and then you as well, Madison. You were into the heavy stuff, but like, were there any bands that were kind of in particular out there that you were like that were indie or maybe like thrash or something that was like fucking I wrestled a bear once. You know what I mean? Like someone that you didn't think would fit in with what you were doing, and then. Because, I mean, I want to get to Rival Colors, because, I mean, Rival Colors is a totally different spin on Vallon. It's not even close to being Vallon. It's,
Not even close.
yeah, I really enjoy it, too, by the way.
Thanks, man.
I was listening today and kind of flip-flopping back and forth between the Vallon album, the anthology that you have up on Spotify, and a couple of your Rival Colors albums, so... kudos to you guys. Very, very cool music. I hope that you guys do write more of it. Dead serious. I know that you guys are busy and, you're a dad. And
Both dads, yeah.
oh, yeah, you're both dads. Oh, there we go. So,
yeah.
time changes and hopefully you can make some time for some new music. You know what I mean? But what were some of the best venues you played when you were younger compared to when you got older? Because I want to talk about, like, the Taste of Chaos thing and I want to know more about that Ken Susi show, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. Cool venues. There were some. There were lots of bad ones too. Like playing like local shows, nothing's like I don't know. Nothing's ever guaranteed. Like you never know what you're walking into. I'd say some like cooler venues were like Drifters in New Hampshire was always kind of cool because they had like good sound and like kids from New Hampshire always came out. I don't know, man. That's kind of a tough question, just because I feel like we played so much in like VFWs and like
YMCA's
and YMCA's. Yeah, like when you got like a good show, it was like the living room in Providence was cool, and
that was a cool venue.
Jesus. Like the ICC, that was cool.
Does anyone know what happened to that place?
No, I don't know. It was like a church, right? So...
Yeah, so all of a sudden it just like stopped having shows, like out of nowhere.
Probably tired of all the people breaking everything.
That too.
It would come down to the last time we played there was with like Drop Dead Gorgeous and what was that? What was that awful group that was like screamo rap? Broken Side. Broken Side.
No way! You played with Broken Side?
We had a show at the ICC with Drop Dead Gorgeous and Broken Side, and then Vallon. and there were like 10 people there, and it was all like our friends.
It's,
Like, how do these two touring bands not have anyone here to see them? And they were drunk, and they tried to steal one of our guitars. It was a nightmare.
what the fuck?
And that's probably when the ICC stopped having shows. Like, this is not worth it. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Broken side is the reason why it doesn't have shows anymore.
Oh, so there's our former bass player, our bass player at some time, Justin's in chat. His guitar went missing from the show, so it really did get stolen, and we think it was Broken Side because they were drunk. They had a tour bus. They had like a fully fledged tour bus, and no one came to see them.
Are you fucking kidding me?
That show was a disaster. The singer of Drop Dead Gorgeous was drunk, and he was like playing our drummer's drums on stage, and like we were like, "Hey, can you stop?" And he was like ignoring us and continuing to play the drums. It was so weird.
Oh, what a dick. That's not real cool.
It was a dick.
Yeah, R.I.P. Broken Side stole my damn guitar. Fucking hilarious, Rumple Blumpkin. So like, so that sounds like one of your worst shows you ever played ever. What about you, Madison? What's one of the worst shows you played ever? You can or can't say the venue. It's up to you. I mean, the ICC doesn't exist anymore, so it's not like anyone's gonna give a shit. But
yeah, that's not hate on the ICC. That's specifically hate on Drop Dead Gorgeous and Broken Side.
And Broken Side. I mean, I don't even think they exist anymore, do they? Or if they do, I hope they don't. I mean, I don't give a fuck.
I think they're called Suicide Boys now, right?
Is it
the same thing?
Is it really?
No, I don't think so. It's just, that group is very similar to what Broken Side was, I think.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Fuck that group. What about you, Madison? Was one of the worst shows you ever played? I don't know if you could top fucking trying to steal your guitar and being famous with only Jimmy's friends there to watch you play. I mean, you're not that fucking famous if you... That blows my mind that they had a tour bus and had no one there. I'm sorry to go on a tangent, but that's fucking so strange.
We thought it was going to be like a sick show. We couldn't believe it.
Are we talking just local or any show?
Any show ever, because I know that you did do Within the Ruins, so, I mean, any show ever.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Before Madison answers that, what should I drink next?
What do you got over there?
They're all in the fridge. I don't know. My wife offered to get me one, so I have to see.
Oh, she's so nice.
There's something called, like, Dirty Plate or Kitchen Plate.
Trash Plate is a sour. It's not a lager.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I think there's 2 sours in there, and the rest were lagers. I'd have the Dickerman. The Dickerman's really good. It's another brewery that's in New Hampshire called Schilling, but they did a
Ooh, I like Schilling.
Yeah, they did a collaboration with Ouzelfinch, and their head brewer is a chick, and she's the coolest person ever. Her name's Rachel. She just won like a bunch of awards. Very talented. She's a microbiologist too, I think, or like a fucking... Yeah, she's like super smart, and super funny. So that's why I wanted to spotlight some like local breweries instead of being like, here, have fucking a Heineken.
Courtney,
you know?
Can I please have the Dickerman in the fridge?
Plus, it's a good name to say, as if for like little kids giggling.
And you get to see my wife in the background. There she goes. Watch. Well, there's a delay,
oh, hi!
So, like, I can't actually see it. There it is. Right. We've got a little mini fridge next to our ping pong room.
Oh, perfect. Dude, dropping that off to you today, I was like, this is a real nice neighborhood. I really hope they don't think I'm some fucking weirdo.
I remember, like, we got delivery the other day, and the guy was like, this is a beautiful street. I was like, thanks. Thank you so much.
Woot.
Right. This is the Dick Herman.
Dick Herman.
By Schilling. Schilling has probably my favorite pizza in the world.
So good. So good. And that area is like a little hidden gem. It feels like Pleasantville.
Yeah, I feel like my wife and I, the first time we discovered it, we like looked up Littleton, New Hampshire. It's like rated one of the top towns in the world to live. Like, it's just like a nice place.
It's like time left behind. It's like a little relic. I love that. Yeah. And they have an awesome candy store up there. Not that I eat a shitload of candy.
Cheddar's, longest candy counter in the world.
Yeah.
That's my wife likes that place.
So, tell me a little bit more about what Rival Colors was doing.
Wait. Madison was about to answer the worst show he ever played.
Oh shit, that's right. Sorry, Jesus, I thought he answered that. See, we gotta. You wanted to drink another beer. See.
I know. I wanted to talk about beer, so I don't want to cut him off completely.
I have two, but I'll give one.
No. You got to give both because these sound like they're gonna be good.
All right. Well, the first one was when I was in the breathing process, and we played a show in upstate New York, and it was like incoming blizzard. We like just beat the storm to the venue, and the show was still going on. So like 2 or 3 bands got to play, and then like 2 bands before us, they shut the show down. So we drove all the way up to upstate New York, and then the show got shut down because of the blizzard, and we didn't know what to do. So this guy invited us back to his house to sleep over at his house until the snowstorm had passed. And we went back to his house, and he got like crazy drunk, and it was the weirdest experience ever. Like he had like a loaded AK-47 hanging on his wall. He had this laminated newspaper article, and he's like, take a look at this, and hands it to us. And the like headline was like, bloated body of woman found in trunk of car or something like that. And it's like this whole huge article about how this woman was found in the trunk of a car, and she was dead, but she had like been trapped in the back of the car for so long, and it was in the summer that she had like her body got all bloated. And I was like, why do you have this? And he's like, that was my buddy, man. And I'm like, what, the girl? And he's like, no, the guy. He put her in the back of his car and left her there. I'm like, why do you have this laminated? And then we're all freaked out. And then like we're all looking at each other. It's like, he has it laminated so that when he shoots us all with that AK-47, the blood won't, ruin the newspaper article. It was probably the most terrifying experience ever. I know me and the drummer Chris slept on an air mattress together, and Chris slept holding a knife under his pillow. I was like, you're gonna pop the mattress, dude. Just like
Yes, a knife, the best weapon against an AK-47.
Yeah.
That guy, he like continued drinking all night until he passed out in his computer chair at like 5 o'clock in the morning. And we all got up, and he was there. I don't know what he was playing, but it was like Mudvayne or like Mushroom Head or something at like full volume at like 6 a.m. Passed out in his computer chair. We just all grabbed our stuff and left right away. I was like, I can't believe we didn't die.
Scary.
And then
what
the other one's really not that bad, but we played at a tattoo shop in this place called. This was I was within the ruins. We played at a tattoo shop in Boone's Mill, Virginia. And the upstairs was the tattoo shop, and then the downstairs was the venue.
Sounds like a progressive place.
It was the only building on the road for miles. And when we got there, I was like, "There's no way anyone's gonna come to this show." And so we toured with Wretched. And then we played with this band called Kills and Thrills, which I think had the former singer of Winter Solstice or Summer Solstice, whatever. I think it was Winter Solstice. I can't remember. But yeah, so we played with those bands there. But I got really, really drunk and woke up with these the next morning.
Knuckle tattoos?
Yeah, I woke up with knuckle tattoos. Apparently, I got really hammered, sat down in the tattoo chair, got my hands tattooed, and then immediately went downstairs, picked up my bass, and we played the set. Nice. And I woke up in the morning I was like, why do my hands hurt? I had finger tattoos, and I was like, well, that happened. So, those are my 2 ridiculous stories. There's more, but...
At least there's a murder one in your story. Oh, thank you very much.
Not quite murder, but almost.
I'm doing the new Avo now by Kettlehead. Because yeah, was I lying when I said it tastes like a fancy Corona?
Excuse me. It was good. I don't know if I got Corona vibes, but like it was good. I think it was better than Corona. So yeah, fancy Corona. Yeah.
Fancy Corona. See, Madison, if I knew you were going to be on, I would have sent you a box as well.
He wouldn't drink it, dude.
Oh. Touche.
I stick to polar.
Oh, there we go. That works.
Carbonated.
So hold on 1 second.
Oh, he left. The delay is tough because he just will hold on 1 second, but then like 10 seconds later you see that he's actually gone.
Ooh.
So it's just you and me.
Oh, sorry about that. So like, for you guys, who are your famous influences? Like, people you really looked up to that people would never imagine. And I don't mean Under Oath and stuff like that. Like, are any of you fans of, like, I don't know, you randomly listen to, like, the fucking Mamas and Papas, or, like, you got into music because of Chuck Berry. Like, I don't know, something random, not just the traditional, I've seen Kill Switch Engage live when I was 13.
So,
you know?
when I was 13, I went to the Warped Tour and Kill Switch Engage was playing. No. Honestly, so, like, when I was probably, like, a sophomore in high school, I remember I don't know, to put it simply, I didn't really have any direction I was going in. You know, I just like listened to music on the radio or whatever and stuff like that. And one of my friends just like called me because in 2003 he didn't text. He called me. And he's like, "Hey, I have a ticket to Warped Tour, an extra one if you want to come." And I was like, okay. I've never been to Warped Tour. I didn't care. So I went. And, like, the first time I saw Warped Tour, that's when I first, like, kind of was exposed to music in that way. Like, I remember seeing, like, The Used and Taking Back Sunday and Fall Out Boy. But really, there was this band there called Billy Talent from Canada, who... There's, like, a few of their songs that were really popular everywhere. But I don't know if they ever had, like... They were never, like, mainstream. But Billy Talent was one of the first bands I ever, like, really enjoyed. I don't know. I also like Michael Jackson a lot.
No, that's pretty cool. So, but like, yeah, I've heard of Billy Talent. I've never actually listened to Billy Talent, but I've heard of Billy Talent. So that's pretty cool to be kind of thrown into the fire of, I guess you would say, not local music, straight into what was popular at the time. I mean, sophomore in high school. I mean, we're about the same age, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, I'm 34, so whatever.
Oh, I'm 33. Yeah, 1 year older, but whatever. But we were in the high school around the same time, literally.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, at that point in time, I didn't have any exposure to, like, Warped Tour or, like,
exactly.
punk rock or whatever. Like, it was just foreign to me, and I, like, really enjoyed it. So they kind of, like, changed me in a way after I did that.
For me, when I was... like just kind of like figuring out music and wanting to play an instrument. Like my best friend growing up got a guitar, and I was like, that's cool. I want to play something too. So my parents bought me a drum set, but I was like okay at playing drums. But when I was by myself in my house, like I wanted to make music and not like just beats. So I got bored playing drums by myself really quick. So I ended up getting a bass so that me and my best friend could kind of just like riff off each other.
Whoa. This is not the question.
What? Well, I'm getting to it.
Okay.
I'm getting to it. So the whole reason I really even wanted to play bass in the first part was because of Deftones. Because I loved watching Chi play bass, and watching Chino play guitar was what made me want to get a guitar. So like the whole reason that I even wanted to like play music was really solely because of Deftones, which I know is probably like one of the most cliche things ever, but I grew up at that time, so
it's
my own summer and
yeah,
were, life changing for me.
I don't think it's so much like a it's not that you were a product of your time. Deftones was really fucking popular for the time because they were so different.
Yeah.
you know?
Madison, do you have a picture on your computer of you with your like red spiked hair and like the UFO pants?
No.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Is that a real photo?
Oh yeah, it exists.
It exists.
Oh,
He was
boy.
He was a Deftones fan and like a Hot Topic fan.
Yeah.
I think we all were at one point, right? I mean,
I was a Hot Topic guy for sure.
oh yeah, everyone was at one point. So we talked about shittiest show ever. Now what about favorite show ever? Like, I mean, it can be more than one too, because I like hearing about this stuff. Like, I didn't get to experience it. I like hearing you guys get excited about it because, I mean, even Jimmy, when you were talking about the Ken Susi show that you got invited to, you did get a little bit excited about it. So I do want to hear more about those shows that were like a big staple point in your life. So go ahead, either one of you can start. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. You can joust. I don't know, whatever you want to do.
You can go first.
I have
Such a
I have
gentleman.
Two that really, actually, I'll say three. I have three shows that were
Three. He said one or two.
No, three.
You can,
Okay,
all right, fine. Let's go with three.
The first one was when I was on tour with Within the Ruins. We had a show get canceled last minute, and it just so happened that we were like just close enough to hop on Face Down Fest, which was like Face Down Records, big festival where all their bands were playing, and they were like gracious enough to let us hop on. It was like us and Recon were added on, and it was cool because I actually ended up becoming friends with the bassist of Recon and lived with him briefly. So it was just kind of cool to like have all that connection there. But
that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, Face Down Fest was really cool. Everyone was really nice, and then at the end of it, there was a huge prayer circle. And I'm not someone who smokes weed, but that night, the drummer of Within the Ruins was like, "Hey man, smoke some weed with me," and I was like, "Okay." And I got really high, and I got really freaked out by the prayer circle. Because they were like speaking in tongues and dancing around, and I was like, "This is too much. I got to go to the van."
Ah, it's too much Jesus for you.
Yeah. And then after that, we played a show that was another festival down in Texas, and that one, like every band was on it. It was like War of Ages, Upon a Burning Body played. This was at the White Rabbit. Like there was just so many. We sold all of our merch that day.
That's a popular venue, the White Rabbit, or was. I'm not sure if it's still around.
That was a really good show. And then the third one, the one I was probably the most excited for since all of that was the Rival Colors show in Boston with Spill Canvas. Like I think it was just really exciting to me because I hadn't played shows in so long, and when we got to the Middle East, it wasn't at the Middle East one, was it? Was it the venue like around the corner?
It was Middle East downstairs.
Oh, it was? Okay. So, it was a sold out show, and seeing the line down the street, it was just like, it felt really good to play a show again. So, that one definitely meant a lot to me.
How did that show come to be with the Spill Canvas? Was that just like luck? You knew someone at Middle East, or?
I was so there's this guy, Matt Barletta, who you might know. He was in like Hollywood Lies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he's the Spill Canvas's either manager or tour manager.
Okay.
But either way, him and I had talked a lot, and he thought like the Rival Colors EP, the first thing we put out, he liked it. So he's like, you should play the Spill Canvas reunion tour when they come to Boston. I was like, yeah, that would be cool, and it was. It was like Madison said, it was a sold out show at the Middle East downstairs. It was my first time ever playing rock and roll. Like, it was like the first time playing a show where I wasn't screaming. You know, it was weird, but yeah, it was cool. It was like kind of cool and kind of like weird just because it was all Spill Canvas fans. Like, they didn't know us, they didn't really care about us, but we played well. It was a sold out crowd. It was fun.
That's like really cool exposure, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like lying around the corner. Did that show make you a little nervous because it was something that wasn't your norm? Or were you okay with it?
I don't know. Like, I got past the point where shows really made me nervous. mostly, but it was definitely like it's a little weird like having to like sing and like worry about whether my voice would sound good because I sang in Vallon, but it was
Right.
like 10% of the time, and it didn't matter if it sounded good or bad because it was Vallon. It was like metal. Who cares?
Well, just to make you smile a little, Jimmy, it sounded good. You did
Oh,
sing
thanks,
good
man.
most of the time.
Thanks. That's what, like people would say. Like I was surprised that you could sing when you were screaming like that. Well, thanks.
I think we all were. We fucking
Yeah.
all were, because we were like, oh, wow, he sounds real good on recording. Then we play live with you guys, and we'd be like, we'd all huddle at practice, and at the end of a song, like, Lamo would be done screaming, and at the time we still had Dan, and we'd be done, we'd be like, fucking Jimmy does this all by himself. And we'd just laugh about it, and be like, oh, alright, well, whatever. You know?
I was a diamond in the rough, man.
Fact. What were you going to say, Madison?
No, I was gonna say I think that the I had a little bit of nerves, not necessarily in like for that show, just because of like I was scared to play because I'm confident in my ability to play. More so than anything is that like when we were playing metal, the only thing you needed was like a 5150, a Marshall cab, a tube screamer, and a noise gate, and like that was it. And with Rival Colors, there's so much stuff with like distortion, and then it goes to a softer part, but then it gets built up with like an overdrive pedal, and then you have delay and you have reverb, and so it was like my first show of like doing this like tap dance around the pedal board, and I think it was more so like I just wanted to make sure I didn't like screw anything up because I'm like tap 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 all over the board over here. But I think it sounded good, and I think we played well. So
I have some Rival Colors currently playing right now on the stream with us on Twitch because I wanted people to get a listen to this. I played some Vallon in the beginning. Now I'm playing some... Ooh, now I'm burping, Jimmy. See? You get fucking... It's like yawning, dude. Also, we did, like, takeout Greek food tonight because, like, my wife does a cooking stream on Sunday and Monday, and, like, I was like, let's not fucking cook anything. I'll just go grab something. But, so now with Rival Colors, what brought that about? What brought about the change? What brought about you wanting to go in a completely different direction, softer, more melodic? I mean, Vallon was melodic, don't get me wrong, but like going in a melodic, poppy, you know, because Jimmy, like you said, you were used to singing 10% of the time, screaming the rest of the time. So what made you decide, like, all right, you know what, fuck this, I want to go full bore, I want to sing, you know, I want to write music like this? What brought that all about?
Well, Madison and I, like, he's like my collaborator. Him and I just like spend a lot of time talking about what should we do, like, and like he'll write a demo in whatever genre it is. I'm like, yeah, that's sick, and like I'd say 90% of the stuff we do just ends up like dying there at the demo stage. But like I said, like, we just go through phases. We're like, let's do like more Valen stuff, or like let's do this, let's do that. And when we decided to like do some, I don't know, I think at the time we were calling it like the grunge revival. We were talking about just like balance and composure and Citizen and Turnover, like bands that we like really liked at the time. We're like, let's do something like that. And then the demos we did just came out really great, in our opinion. Like we just liked them, so we actually kind of followed through. Like I said, Madison writes all this stuff. It could be post rock, metal, hardcore, rock, whatever. He writes a ton of shit, and we'll get excited about it, but then we just won't do anything. But like Rival Colors, when he wrote those demos, we're like, we should follow through on this. Like these are pretty cool songs. So I think like first I was like, I want like my mom to like my music, you know? Like my mom doesn't even know what Valen is. She doesn't even know I was in a band, you know? But like she liked the Rival Colors stuff. So
I kind of get what you mean, like going from a band where you're screaming and your parents like, that's great, you following your passion, but it's just not for me, bud.
yeah, right.
You know what I mean? But like, yeah, I can get what you mean with the Rival Colors thing, like your mom wanting to listen to it and stuff like that. Now, what about you, Madison? What made you go from metalcore to something softer? considering you
Well,
came from a metalcore, hardcore area and background, and
for me, really more than anything, is I think that the Rebuilding EP was kind of like,
Vallon, the last Vallon EP.
yeah, it was kind of just like a sort of like a nail in a coffin kind of thing for me at that point in time, where like we had a lot of interest in Vallon. You know, we were working with Ken Susi, a couple of, you know, I think Outer Loop Management was talking to us for a little bit there. We had a few contacts with a few different record labels. You know, I had come from a band that was on Victory, and so like Victory was like something that was kind of like on the table a little bit there. And the whole process, we lost a few members during the recording of the EP, and then the EP took a long time to produce, and I think it just burnt us out. And like, since we lost members, and since we nothing really materialized after all the work that we had put into the rebuilding, I think that's what kind of was just like, we don't really want to do this anymore. And then I had moved down to Connecticut briefly, and decided, like, I missed Jimmy and I missed Kyle, and I didn't go up as often anymore. So I think when we had like shot a few ideas back and forth whether or not we wanted to do, like, what kind of music we wanted to do, and the Rival Colors idea was actually, I think, first off an idea like in 2011, 2012. So like it's been an idea for a really long time.
wow.
But
That was that sound.
I think you said wow.
I said wow.
Yeah, so the idea
Yeah.
the idea for Rival Colors has been around for a very long time, because at that point in time we had like, the Rebuilding EP didn't do what we were hoping it would, and like a lot of opportunities just kind of fell through the cracks. And so since we were burnt out on Vallon and I had moved away, my suggestion for us to be able to kind of like still maintain our creative outlets with each other was to just kind of like write demos in this new style. Since and the thing was is that since it was a completely different style for me, it was almost like ideas were just like flooding in, because it was so liberating to like not be structured around this very specific metalcore, like chugging, shredding stuff, where I was able to kind of just like sit back and like allow myself to like make pretty chords and write little leads off of it. And so the way that we were able to kind of like maintain our friendship and our connection was to kind of like have me send some ideas to him, see what he thinks. And then we got Kyle on board, and you know, Kyle came up with a few little ideas, and it was just a challenge for us because we all came from tech metal and metalcore and all that stuff. And I think it was just exciting for us to like challenge ourselves to write something so far out of the norm for us that it was fun. It was like writing music was fun again. So I think that's really more so what it really boiled down to, was having the process be fun again, with no real like expectation. Like we didn't start Rival Colors with the idea like we're gonna try and get signed to No Sleep Records and like go on tour with, you know, some indie band. Like we just decided to do it for fun, and I think that's why it worked for us.
So it was more of a natural thing, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
That kind of seems to be the most the where the best music comes from, is usually like the natural approach to things like that. Now, for best venue and best things that you've ever played, Jimmy, what was that whole Taste of Chaos thing? How did that ever? I remember you guys playing it. I just don't remember how it all came to be. Like, I know we were all super proud of you guys, but I think I was the only one out of the loop that was like, how the fuck do you get on Taste of Chaos? Like, because I remember 13 playing Warped Tour, you know what I mean? And then you guys playing Taste of Chaos, and I'm like, how the fuck did I miss something?
Yeah, so I mean, in 2007, we won this like Ernie Ball voting competition to play Warped Tour. It was like the Ernie Ball Warped Tour voting thing, and we won that.
Okay.
So we played Warped Tour in 2007. Then in 2008, Ernie Ball was doing a vote to open Taste of Chaos. So it was like you could vote like once a day, and we were just hard promoting on MySpace at the time.
Oh,
And,
I miss MySpace.
excuse me. So
That was a good one.
I can't help it.
That had some gain.
For the Massachusetts show, there was one other band called Raleigh who was like getting a lot of votes every day.
Yep.
It seemed like every other day, like Raleigh would get 1,000 votes one day, then we'd get 1,000 votes the next day. We were like back and forth. So, like the day came where they were supposed to announce it, and we couldn't decide. Like we're like, it kind of seems like maybe Raleigh got more votes, but Raleigh was like pop punk, and we're like, we kind of fit the bill more. Like maybe they'll pick us because we fit the bill better.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting the email like, congratulations, you won. So like that was sick. So that night, like our bass player at the time, Austin, like lived in Alston.
Okay.
Austin from Alston. And then me, Kyle, Barron, and our drummer Dave were all in Danvers and Middleton. So at like midnight, we went and picked up Austin. And all 5 of us just went to Dave's house and like sat in our van and like we're like drinking beers and having a good time, like celebrating the fact that we won this thing. And it was cool. Like Taste of Chaos is at the Songus Arena. That's like 7,000 people. So the day came, we got to the venue, and there was a band called Idiot Pilot.
Yep.
They were supposed to play like third, and they didn't show up. They had like a flat tire or something like that. So instead of us opening, they gave us Idiot Pilot's spot. So that year they had like these bands from China play. I don't know. It was cool. They're cool. But they opened. So,
Okay.
like, a band from China opened and we played second. We got an extra 10 minutes on our set. And like I said, like it was awesome, but it was also that like we played great and like the crowd like really loved us. It was weird. Like people who had no clue who we were, but they thought we were sick. Like they were like moshing and crowd surfing and like cheering for us. It was surreal, like to play a show like that and not like, like get reception like that too. It was cool.
Did it freak you out a little?
No, man. I kind of felt like I was where I belonged. At least like that day, it felt cool.
That's really fucking cool. That's cool to hear. What was it like being there on that day? Was it like, did you run into anybody? Did you get to talk to anybody? Did you try not to fangirl and shit? Like,
yeah, we definitely played it cool, but like we saw like everyone who was playing, like I remember the singer of, okay, so like someone from Bullet for My Valentine like walked up to me and asked if I knew where catering was. I was like, I don't know, we're not allowed to have the catering. So I pointed, like, I think it's that way. And then when I pointed, I like hit the stinger of Bullet for My Valentine in the face with my hand. He's like, all right, mate, you good? Sorry. Yeah, like everyone was cool. Bust the Fall was one of the bands that played, and they like were cool with us. Like they had their merch set up next to us, and like they told us we played really well and stuff. And yeah, we like watched Event Sevenfold from side stage. That was cool. It was a fun day.
was it? Well, what about you, Madison? For show wise, what was kind of like the pinnacle for you?
I think I'd have to go back to that show at the White Rabbit with where we sold all our merch and all that stuff. It was really cool because there was like 3 stages, so it was like 2 or 3 stages set up. I can't remember exactly, but the stage at the White Rabbit is like probably like at like chest level for most people.
Okay.
So like people are like looking up at you, and so because it's a little bit elevated like that, not super elevated, but just enough, you can see like through like the whole venue, and like seeing the whole venue filled with people and playing for that many people, especially with like all the like really cool bands that were there. It was really cool. And San Antonio is just a really cool place, so we got to hang out with a lot of cool people afterwards too.
Sounds like a lot of fun. I think Jimmy's running away. What about for gear for you, Madison? What are some things that are kind of like what do you play? What's your pedal board kind of like? What are your things that you like fucking around with?
You should not have asked this question.
Well, he doesn't have to go super in depth if he doesn't want to. I mean, it's totally up to him. I mean, there's gonna be more questions. Like, I definitely want to know what you guys have been watching lately, what kind of movies and shit too. So, but yeah, let me know about gear. I know that. Ooh, that was a good one. I know that people like to nerd out about gear, and I do like hearing about gear. So,
well, it's really simple for me. I have an XFX3, and that is my piece of gear that I've wanted for a long time that I got a really good deal on, and that is going to be the main piece of gear that I use going forward. Aside from that, I mean, I work for Balaguer Guitars, so I have a bunch of Balaguer guitars plus 2 customs in the builder queue. Yeah, I got one of those too.
oh, that is awesome looking. It looks almost like a Jaguar.
Yeah,
That's dope.
It's like our take on what a modern take on what a Jazzmaster or a Jaguar would be. So,
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a second.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But
So
I have a couple that model right there in the background is called the Espada. I have 2 of those, and I have one. I have 2 called the Hyperion, which are for my. I did like a instrumental post metal kind of gloomy thing for a little bit, and so I used the Hyperions for those because it's like a very big doomy looking guitar. And then I have one of the new models we just released back in February. It's called the Diablo, which is like a super strat. That one I have 2 of those coming in the summer.
pretty awesome.
But yeah, I mean, besides the Axe effects, I have a Bad Cat Cub 40R combo.
Okay.
Bad Cat, those guys out in California are just really excellent people. So I got to know them quite a bit, and I love supporting their brand. They make killer amps, so I highly recommend them.
The last time I heard about Bad Cat was years ago, kind of in the local scene when Orange and Hughes and Kettner started to make their debut in the local scene. When I thought that only rich famous people had Hughes and Kettner and Orange at the time, you know what I mean?
I think the first time I saw a Hughes and Kettner tri-amp was actually Evan from Vanna.
Oh yeah, there was Evan and who else was it? It was, I think it might have been Nate from the Receiving End of Sirens.
Oh wow.
He had a Hughes and Kettner as well. And I was always like, what kind of fucking head is that with a blue LED backlight? That thing's dope. I don't even care what it sounds like. It has a light. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
But I'm sure that was sort of, I don't know, were you guys huge Receiving End of Sirens fans?
I wouldn't say I was a huge fan, but I really liked what they did.
Me and Baron listened to Between the Heart and Synapse at the shop once a day. At least. Love that.
That I went to the CD release for that, and it was really cool because Brandon Davis had just posted a couple days ago about how he remembers that show and how cool it was and stuff like that. But I remember wanting to go to that show so bad, and Mike Rossetti from As Good As Dead, the guitarist, he was supposed to work at his family restaurant that night, and he pretty much opened my parents' front door and kicked in my front door to downstairs apartment and just kind of was like, get your shit together, we gotta go. The Receiving End of Siren show is starting in 10 minutes. And I was like, what do you mean? I thought you were working tonight. He's like, get in the fucking car, we gotta go across the bridge and get there quick.
Was
yeah, the
he,
reunion
Rossetti
was supposed to be here.
Like Rossetti and Beverly? That's his family?
Mike Rossetti, yeah. So I think he did live in Beverly for a little while. He moved down to Revere, I think, again.
There's a
But
restaurant near Whole Foods in Beverly, new, called Rossetti's.
oh, they might have opened another one. I know that his cousin was supposed to open another one, so that might be the third location. I mean, there's one in Winthrop, one in Linden. I think you're right. I think there's one in Beverly now.
It's good.
Super Italian food.
Yeah. And also, it's funny you mentioned Brandon Davis because he was like the first person I talked to who like gassed up Receiving End of Sirens to me. He's like, dude, they're the best. It's like music for musicians. Like, you've got to listen to him. I was like, okay, I'll listen to him. Like,
he was in the chat here, the reunion for Receiving End of Sirens was supposed to be last year. COVID fucked that all up. And it was supposed to be Treos and Envy on the Coast. You're right, Crumb to Mama. That was supposed to be a really cool show.
Their little reunion got canceled too.
Yeah, no kidding. I was really disappointed about that. Brandon Davis, the first time I had ever heard of Brandon Davis was Therefore I Am, which was really funny because like I found him as a guitarist first, and then when he was a drummer, when he was a drummer, I was like, holy shit, this guy can do everything. And then like I still talk to him on his Instagram, and I'm like, this guy's building fucking vans for you to travel in. He skateboards. I'm like, this not a single thing he can't do. I'm actually interviewing In Spirit soon. I am so glad to see all of them together again, doing something under a different name with, a more mature and punch you in the face fucking style. I mean, I'm sure you're glad to see them back, Jimmy.
Yeah. When I first saw like them teasing it, I texted Nick. I was like, "Hey, what's this?" He's like, "Oh, it's like Vanna in Spirit, Like they hadn't released their name yet." I was like, "Oh, that's cheeky."
I like
cheeky
that.
The way you said that. So,
I like that very much. It's Vanna in Spirit.
I think most people from around here that are Vanna fans like Curses and The Search Party Never Came. Like that's their Vanna.
Yep.
So In Spirit sounds like that. Like Chris Priest sounds exactly the same. It's perfect. So
I'm really excited to see what more they come up with because like the stuff that they've put out so far is really great. What do you think of that beer, Jimmy? Is it really weird?
It's pretty sour. I was reading the bottom. Pineapple, raspberry, blackberry, coconut, graham cracker, marshmallow.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's like a s'more with fruit on top.
It was one of those. I got a lot, Jesus Christ, of fun ideas at the brewery, and one of them was to add graham crackers and marshmallows into the mash tun, and then after we were done, I was like, what a dumb fucking idea to try and clean this out of everything.
Marshmallows,
yeah. But the funny part is like all the grain and everything goes to like a farm, so those fucking cows and pigs definitely got diabetes that day. Like they just got overloaded on like Lucky Charms cereal pretty much, which was like what we fed them.
Nice.
But so like
get really good beef out of that.
yeah, I know, huh? It's really funny up here in New Hampshire. You see a lot of the barter system still go on. I know that's not going on in Massachusetts. I mean,
no, we take cold hard cash in Massachusetts.
Yeah, it's like money or bust type of thing. But like up here, it's really cool to see that like there's this still like farm to table type thing, and also like, if waste not want not, like having all the grain left over from brewing beer, you kind of give it to like a local farmer so that they can feed their pigs and stuff like that. So it's sort of like helping the community, and that's sort of what this podcast is based off of, this podcast interview thing, because like I loved listening to Vallon and playing with Vallon. I love listening to Rival Colors, and like I just want people to, if it's possible for them. I know everybody's an adult now and everybody's older, and you guys have kids. It's hard to make music. It's hard to make time for things you love, and when you do get to have time for those things is when the magic sort of happens. So I'm curious if, Rival Colors going to write more music in the future? Is Vallon going to write more music in the future? Are you going to lean more towards poppy progressive music, or are you going to lean more towards metal music? Like, I'm curious to hear from both of you. Like, what are your ideas going into the future? And then I want to ask questions on random shit. So
yeah, as far as like what we're doing next, I don't know, like there's not like that many people watching, because Madison and I kind of agreed to, like, I don't know, like, be quiet about it, but we're writing like a full length Vallon record right now. It's almost done.
But really?
Yeah. So that's like what we've been doing lately, just writing heavier music, and we're like, I'd say the music portion is like, what do we have, 8 tracks done?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're trying to probably write like 12 songs, and then like do vocals and put it out. But that's exclusive to the 7 people who are here right now.
That's okay. I mean, it's gonna take time for everything to build up. I mean, including like Vallon's coming back, so that's like a nice thing. I mean, I'm sure people still remember Vallon. I'm just starting out, so I mean, it's normal and abnormal to have people in the chat, people out of the chat. It's funny to see people from across the world too that just pop in randomly and just want to learn about a band or something like that. But for you guys,
you've got like some bigger episodes coming up. Like,
I do. So I just kind of like, I've been reaching out to people, just because I feel like, I wasn't the greatest musician. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I played bass. I always just used to joke and say, like, I'm the bassist. I don't get a fucking... Whatever you guys want to do is cool with me. You know what I mean?
What
like,
bands did you play in, aside from 13 As Good as Dead?
I was the screamer frontman for Ashland for a while, and then I don't know if you remember, but a band called All Flags Flying. I played guitar for them for a while with like Mikey Charbonneau and Kyle and stuff like that, and Josh Wilson.
I didn't know that Ashland had you come in as a singer. I don't remember that.
Yeah, so what happened was it was like Pat, Derek, and Mike, and Mikey. I can't believe I just called him Mike. It's Mikey. Yeah, that was fucking weird. So, like, it was them 3, and then Pat decided he didn't want to do music anymore, and then I had left 13 because I didn't... It was nothing against them. It was just that they started doing that sort of Angels and Airwaves sound type thing. And I was like, you know what? I'm not into the whole Angels and Airwaves thing. I'm going to step this one out. Dave joined them again. And then at the time, I just wanted to try something new, so I just started playing for All Flags Flying, and that was fun for a little while. And then I stopped playing music all in general after that. I did the narrator after that, which was with Joe Keller and a couple other people, just to do screaming, just to have some fun. But as of right now, I'm not doing anything. I mean, Lance and I have been in contact, and Joe Keller and a couple other people, but like nothing set in stone. Just sort of having fun, you know what I mean? But I am excited to hear that you guys are writing a whole new album. I mean, how the hell did you get Kyle to play Rival Colors like music? I mean, I thought he was only...
It's been a chore.
That's what I mean. I thought he was only into fucking growling and shredding. Like, that's... I don't know.
He like lives and breathes metalcore, dude. Like, more than anyone in the world. It's funny. I'm actually on Skype in the chat. I thought it'd be fun for the 3 of us. I'm gonna put a link here.
Oh dear God.
And it's just like one of the demos. There's like no vocals. It's not even a finished song. But if you want to play it, that's like one of the new Vallon songs.
Not complete yet, but
like I said, it's like not even mixed. Done. There's no vocals. It's not finished. But play like 30 seconds of it. Right when it comes in, start playing.
There we go. Ooh, this is dope. Whew. God damn, son. Okay. When did you get this fucking medal?
When Madison.
Jesus Christ! This is so much shred.
Hold on. Maybe one more, but don't play the whole song, because this is a whole song.
Okay.
And this one sounds more like Vallon. And, like, this is like... Hold on, where's the hell's the chat? Yeah, just play like a minute of this, or less. Because this is a...
No problem.
No vocals still, but it's like a finished song. But, like, this is like our opening track, you know? This is what we want people to hear.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, this is so fucking good.
This is more like vintage Vallon.
Very true.
Kyle wrote a lot of like the majority of like the very Vallon-y riffs. I just took them and kind of tweaked them a little bit.
That is so good. So what's it like writing together, Madison? So, like, I remember various stages of Vallon in the beginning with different people. At one point, Jimmy, you had a kid who was just a fucking shred monster, but was like...
Dude, I sent you pictures of every lineup. We should go through them and break them down. It'd be fun.
So,
every picture has like a version 1, version 2.
yeah, so there's like right here we got an image slideshow that's up on the screen, and like Kyle's currently in the picture right now, but there's a whole image slideshow in the top right on Twitch, and like it is, you went through so many stages of different people. Like I remember Vallon being, like I said, that post-hardcore screamy singy, and then you got heavier and heavier, but like your members change was so drastic, because you went from like a couple new metal people to like semi-scene-ish looking metal people to like, then you went to like straight fucking metal people that just, you know, that were all about like, you tried to talk to them and all they see was like fucking math metal sequences. And I'm like, I can't talk to this kid. Never mind.
Yeah, we had like, in the beginning it was just like bass and drums were like revolving doors. But
yeah, so like Scott, I think that's his name. Yep, Scott was the first bassist, right?
Pause on that photo of Scott there as the bass player. I can't tell if like where the slideshow is because there's a slight delay. That picture of Scott first, that's like our first show ever, and I love that picture because the singer of Boys Like Girls is in the background watching us at our very first show. It was their very first show too.
Really?
Yeah, and then like my dad's in the background with like a video camera from 1997, like filming our set. Like it's just so ridiculous. But...
So I suck with technology, and I'm trying to pause it, but I kind of can't. And I know that there's a delay. I suck with, like I said, I'm learning as I go. Like tonight, everyone has a nameplate. I feel really accomplished that everyone has a nameplate right now on Twitch. Like, you know, it says Madison Roseberry, James like Jimmy Mercer.
Mine has my formal and informal.
So like, what were some of the challenges though? I mean, like everybody goes through these like, you go through different personalities in bands, and like yes, you want their talent, but you also want the camaraderie that comes with it, and sometimes that just fucking doesn't happen as much as you want it to. So are there times that like you're happy with the music, you're happy with everything that's being written, but at the same time you're like, this feels more like a chore than it does a band. It feels honestly, like, you know what I mean?
Every situation was like different but the same. Like it was like Scott was like an awesome bass player, but like he wouldn't hang out with us, and we had this other guy Nick who was hanging out with us all the time, who's like, I play bass, and like got in our ear. We're like, okay, like let's have Nick join the band and play bass because it's like he's like our buddy. And like, you know, that was like a mistake because Scott was awesome at bass and like an awesome guy. But you know, it happened.
Right.
And then you'll have a guy like we had Mike Doyle playing drums for a while, and Mike Doyle was an awesome drummer, but he missed like 2 practices, and we were like, that's it. We treated it like a business back then because we were young enough that like our parents were like taking care of our bills. We were just like coasting like. So when Mike Doyle didn't show up to practice, like we need a new drummer, and then that's how we got Dave. And
Okay.
Dave was awesome, and he also like kicked our ass. He's like, well, why don't you guys have any music really recorded? Why are all your songs demos? Like, why don't we go to a recording studio and record? I was like, that's a good question. Why did we never do that? So because of Dave, we went to Zing Studio in Westfield with like that's where Under Oath and Killswitch and
Yep.
Parkway Drive recorded. We're like, why didn't we do this? So, like I said, every member change in the beginning, like there was a reason for it, but maybe not the best reason. But it was always different. Like sometimes it was like an ego, sometimes it was like this guy's not like our friend, and sometimes they skip practice, just whatever it was, you know.
No, I totally understand that. I was just so curious as to like the different changes that you guys went through because it went from like technical to more technical to more technical, and I was like, are they going in like the faceless direction? Like, do they want to be
So
the faceless? Like,
I can explain the progression.
Okay.
To the best of my knowledge, it was once Dave joined on drums, he was such a good drummer that we wanted to play heavier music because he was such a good drummer.
Okay.
Then when it was me, Kyle, Baron, Dave, and Austin, and that was kind of like we were just gonna be kind of like Killswitch, like that was in our head, like we want to be like a metal band, and then the next switch was when Austin told us he was gonna quit the band because he got an internship at like a graphic design firm or something like that. So he's like, so in like a month I have to quit. So
Was he like the GQ model looking fucking bassist you guys had?
yeah, he had no business playing with us. He was like an American Apparel ad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he told us he was gonna take a thing or whatever. I'm drunk, dude. He was gonna take
This is why I like doing this.
He's gonna do an internship for graphic design. So behind the scenes, for the whole month leading up to his last show, we were like, oh, we have to make like these cool shirts that say "I love Austin" for Austin's last show. And then the day after Austin's last show, Baron, the guitarist, like a founding member, is like, hey, I think I'm gonna quit the band and be an apprentice tattooing. I'm like, you kidding me, dude? Like, he's like, I thought it'd be best if I did this now, like since Austin's leaving. I was like, yeah, now we have to replace 2 people. Yeah, that's a good idea. So once those 2 guys are gone, it was me, Kyle, and our current drummer Mark. We're like, okay, what the fuck do we do? And we found Max first. So Max was the guitar player.
Yep, I remember Max.
Who took us from Killswitch to the Faceless. He was a very technical player, and he wanted us to play heavier music. And we also had Justin at the same time, which is Rumpelblumpkin69 in the chat. Like, of course, that's his username on Twitch because he's so weird. Justin's weird. And, so him and Max joined at the same time, and like it honestly, like at first when Austin and Baron left, it felt like a death sentence. It was like, dude, we're screwed. Like we just lost 2 guys. Like how are we gonna replace them? But then Justin and Max came in, and like they were like these cool looking dudes who were good musicians. Like this is cool, we're back. And then we did the Vices EP, and everyone liked it. And then we were talking to like record labels and management, and I was like, this is crazy. Everything changed, and then I don't know, the music got too heavy to the point where like I wasn't really interested anymore, and I don't know, that's kind of where it went. It just got things like kind of got to a place where I didn't like it anymore, and then like I said, I essentially got okay, I want to address this since I've had 3 beers, and I'm gonna put it down on video on Twitch. I tried to quit Vallon because I thought the music was getting too heavy and I didn't like the way it sounded. So I tried to quit, and they asked me not to quit. They're like, dude, come on, like just push through it. I was like, okay, I won't quit. And like a week later, they kicked me out.
Yes.
Like, what are you doing?
This-
You just asked me not to quit, and now you're kicking me out? Like, what are you doing? So I was like, yeah, that's fine. I'll come get my stuff. Like, you could have just let me quit last week. But then they found a new singer who was Alex Arrow, who's a great guy. He's from Shot Down Sun. He has a
I
band
remember
now
them.
called Grind of the Dead. Grind of the Dead's really cool. And they got the drummer of Alex's band at the time, and they played for a while, and then they all called it a quit. They called it quits. So that's how that happened. Just in case anyone wondered.
Yeah, that's kind of like what happened with As Good as Dead. I had gotten kicked out of As Good as Dead because they wanted to go like straight death metal. Because like at the time, I'm pretty sure that Mike Rossetti was like super obsessed with the Faceless, Necrophagus, and some other crazy metal band at the time. So they wanted to go not crazy metal band, but one of my favorites, Black Dahlia Murder. So they were leaning more towards that, you know what I mean, like thrashy blast beat metalcore. And then like Lance is a great drummer, but Lance also was like, I can't play half that shit, you know what I mean? So like then As Good as Dead disbanded because it wasn't the same anymore. It wasn't going to be the same thing. Like, and playing in 13 Yards to Victory was really fun, but like being a 4-piece was weird. It was around the time that like they had disbanded with Styx,
Styx was the face of 13. I don't know. That's a weird move.
Me and you 100% agree.
In case they're watching this, or like maybe they're not, but like Vinny was also the face of 13.
Yes, very much so. And Vinny busted his fucking ass. Benny, yeah. Benny.
Tommy was good too. But you know what? Like to me, 13 Yards to Victory is not 13 Yards without Styx, Tommy, and Vinny. So get rid of Styx, like no, thank you.
No, and Ryan was a phenomenal asset to that band, like drumming and screaming and stuff like that. But like, once they went down that path of like wanting to be commercial instead of being themselves, I was like, this isn't you guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand changing with the times. Like, I talked with Harbor Lights band. They're from Death Wish Records. They're really fucking awesome. Melodic, punch you in the face rock. You know what I mean? And we were talking about like how bands progress and how Fall Out Boy started out as this fucking awesome emo pop punk band, and now you listen to them and you're like, I'm pretty sure there's more electronic shit in here than there is actual instrumentation now. You know what I mean? So you're like at the point of being like, when Panic at the Disco started as a band that used an 808 and a bunch of other samples during their songs and then turned into the Beatles, that was different. But like going from pop punk to a techno band kind of sounds like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like you're not still the same. I don't know. What's your idea on that?
I mean, so I don't know if you know this since you brought it up, but Fall Out Boy is like my favorite band of all time.
Okay, so school me. Go ahead.
So, like, from Infinity on High to now, I'm just not interested in Fall Out Boy. Like, I don't hate what they did. Like, they wrote pop music and they're making like millions of dollars. Like, cool, go ahead and do it. But to me, like, Take This to Your Grave, From Under the Cork Tree, and anything else before that, which is like something like I Slept With Your Girlfriend or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
And all the EPs, like, that's their good stuff to me. Like, that's what I discovered and that's what I liked. And I don't have any problem with bands doing what they gotta do. Like,
right.
From what I could gather, it seems like the latest like music is just Patrick Stump writing music and Fall Out Boy recording it. Like, pretty much.
Isn't you're a big Fall Out Boy fan? Isn't it true that he like had to learn their like how to sing and play at the same time because their fucking guitarist quit or something?
I think I know that like in the beginning he wasn't really much of a guitar player. He just like wanted to be in a band and had a cool voice. So
he does have an extremely unique voice.
Yeah, but I didn't care for the direction he took it in after From Under the Cork Tree. Like I said, I'm a little salty about their shift in genres, but like, that doesn't change how I felt about them.
You're salty. I'm salty too. I mean, it's kind of one of those things. Like, you listen to Taking Back Sunday, That's another good example, right? Like, you can listen to Taking Back Sunday and then realize, like, hey, once Fred Maraschino was out of the band, or once John Nolan was out, and then John Nolan came back. So, you know what I mean? It's kind of one of those things where, for a little while, it sufficed, and then all of a sudden they went in this direction where they had, like, 3 guitarists. I remember seeing them in, like, Faneuil Hall for free, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I can't listen to this. This doesn't sound like them, you know what I mean? But what about for you, Madison? What are some bands that like you kind of grew up with or were a big fan of, and then all of a sudden you kind of had to they took a totally different direction from what you thought was going to happen?
Well, I think it's just an interesting occurrence watching bands evolve. Some bands don't change at all, and at some point, there's like a 50-50 split there, where like the bands that sound exactly the same when they first started to where they are now, it's like you almost appreciate them for staying the course and doing what they're like the best at. But then there's also this kind of like thing where it's like, I mean, you guys are really good at this, but like, are you gonna maybe try something different? You know, like, are you gonna go in a different direction? Because, you know, after a while it starts to sound the same. So I think some growth and some evolution and some change over time is, you know, a worthwhile thing. But I think the band that has been the weirdest for me to follow from the beginning till now has been Bring Me the Horizon, like, just hands down. Like, when they first came out, the first full-length album they put out, they were like Suicide Silency, kind of like death metal,
Yep.
like deathcore stuff. And then they went on a tour with Bury Your Dead, and then they came out with Suicide Season, and they sounded like Bury Your Dead. And then, like, the few albums after that, they sounded almost kind of like Under Oath, or, you know, more post-hardcore stuff. And then I think the when they came out with Sempiternal, that was the album that I was like, okay, they've taken everything they've done and kind of confined it into this like one thing, and like that album start to finish is an excellent record for me.
I'm obsessed with that album.
Everything after that, it was like they took all that stuff that they had worked on from the beginning of their career to Sempiternal and made that album, and that was really cool and unique, and like I felt like that was like an identifying moment for them. And then they like threw it all out and became Linkin Park Jr. And I was just like,
yeah.
I mean, I get it. You have to, you know, evolve and adapt to survive as a musician in today's world. But at like some point in time, you have to kind of like wonder, like, have you lost your identity? Or like, I mean, I don't know. I can listen to the newer stuff, but it doesn't have any staying power for me. Whereas like Sempiternal, like I can listen to that record any day of the week.
That's like me with that new. We talked about it on unfortunately the Driveways VOD didn't upload to Twitch, but it's on the YouTube. It's a little hard to listen to the first 14 seconds because I still fuck up the whole double audio thing, and there's an echo. That's beside the point. But Driveways and I were talking about the newest A Day to Remember record and how we were like, you know, see, Madison, you were already starting to bob your head where you're like, this is a band that I listen to them for the pop punk and the breakdowns. I don't listen to them for the...
Homesick.
Yeah, exactly. Homesick, you know what I mean? Like,
Homesick, dude.
But like what...
I've
Go ahead.
never really been a huge A Day to Remember fan, but Homesick was fun.
Exactly.
It was fun. It was like it came out at a time where it was like, I don't know, like you had pop punk and you had like hardcore and death metal and stuff like that, and they did it so well where they fused pop punk and breakdowns that like I think the only two bands at that time that I really felt like did it well was 4 Year Strong and A Day to Remember. And I don't know, like I can't tell you how many times I've seen on Facebook people being like, A Day to Remember, what are you doing? So,
well, that's that same thing with going along the lines of you know, A Day to Remember, and then you brought up Bring Me the Horizon. What's another one that stands out to you that kind of totally went off the tracks? Because like, for me, I like the new Blink-182. Don't get me wrong. I think Matt Skiba's phenomenal. But do I miss Tom DeLonge with Blink-182? Yes, that's Blink-182 to me, not with Matt Skiba. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they're better off not doing anything until Tom DeLonge wants to be in the band again.
You know what, as much as it pains me to say it, I 100% agree.
Yeah,
I 100% agree.
Who needs Matt Skiba? Like, what's he doing there? Who needs him?
I say stick to Alkaline Trio.
Yeah, he's from Alkaline Trio. Be an Alkaline Trio, dude. Do that.
I will say one band that I feel like has shifted completely from where they started to where they are now, that I've actually really appreciated every single step in their transition.
I'm bracing myself for this.
Contortionist.
Okay. No. The Contortionist is pretty great.
I thought you were going to say 100th, because 100th is so sick.
Yeah.
They're another anomaly, too. But the Contortionist, for me, they started off as, like, the heaviest guttural scream, drop G-tuned, like, heavy death metal band. And now they play 6 strings in standard and almost don't scream at all anymore. And they're, like, a prog band now. Like, they could go on tour with Dream Theater and it wouldn't feel out of place. But when you compare that to their first record, which I think was called Shapeshifter,
yep,
and it was just like the most crushing death metal ever, to where they are now. But I think the cool thing about it is that they've had like a really kind of nice transitional arc from where they started to where they are now, so that it doesn't feel out of place. Like every album got a little bit more prog, a little less
exactly.
heavy. Yeah, so
they eased you into it.
Transitionary period.
They eased you into it. It wasn't like, here's our album, and now we sound like the fucking Allman Brothers. Like, it wasn't one of those type of things. You know what I mean? Like, that always throws me for a loop, because, like, you know who I can really respect for a metal band that's kind of progressed to the point where you're like, okay, they're older now? It's Parkway Drive. And not a lot of people agree with me. But I think that they've gotten older to the point where now they sound like someone that you would just hear on Ozzy's Boneyard. You know what I mean? Like,
I honestly, after, what is it, Deep Blue or whatever?
Yeah.
That after that record, I stopped caring. But I mean, like, when I was
so subtle.
When I was in Within the Ruins, and we recorded at Zing, Eric Arena told us, like, that they went to Zing to work with Adam D with like a handful of riffs, but that the most of Horizons as a whole was pretty much written by Adam D.
Really? Get the fuck out of here.
Just based on a bunch of riffs that they had brought him. I don't know if that's
really.
Yeah. I don't know how accurate that is, but Eric told us, and I don't see why he would lie to us about
right.
that.
So that's actually how me and Madison met, is Vallon, like 2008 Vallon with Max and Justin. We recorded the Vices EP with Eric Arena at Zing Studio, and the next band he recorded was Within the Ruins. And I guess like Madison heard Vallon was like and liked us, and then that's how him and I started talking.
Yeah, when I left Within the Ruins, the first person I contacted was Jimmy, because they had an opening for a bassist, and then that's when I think you guys got Ian, right?
Well, they got Ian.
They got. No, you were still in the band when I first hit you up.
But not with Ian. They got Ian. I like set up Ian's audition and then got kicked out. Like, thanks, pal.
Yeah.
Now, totally non-music related, what are some things you guys have been watching lately?
Oh jeez. My wife and I just rewatched Breaking Bad for like the 3rd or 4th time.
Solid fucking choice.
Yeah.
That is a solid choice.
God, like, I don't know. I haven't been watching a lot of TV. I have a almost 2-year-old. I don't get to do much.
You definitely watch TV if you have a 2-year-old. What have you been fucking tortured into watching on replay until it haunts your nightmares?
I watched Little Baby Bum and Coco Melon. That's what I watch.
Wormdad420 said you watch Gossip Girl. You're fucking lying.
No, I don't watch that shit. I watch the Wheels on the Bus over and over until my son falls asleep. Wheels on the Bus.
Wheels on the Bus and
Yeah.
Coco Melon, you said?
Well, Coco Melon is the channel that makes the Wheels on the Bus video. It's the same.
So is it like a YouTube channel?
Yeah, Coco Melon is like this
Like
major
Middle Eastern-
underground conglomerate that just pulls kids nursery rhymes and makes billions of dollars off YouTube.
Yeah.
It's a child conglomerate. They just suck you in. It's a conspiracy.
I'm telling you, Coco Melon, Little Baby Bum, they just like make these like weird, like Pixar, but like Pixar if it like sucked videos, nursery rhymes, and they have 1,000 videos, and it's just the same 20 songs in different orders.
Fuck.
Just over and over.
Yeah. I remember those days. Luckily, my kids are old enough now that the shows that they like to watch, I actually like to watch too. So I'm not hurting too bad.
Yeah, but my kid will watch the first 10 minutes of the movie Cars now, and then he's checked out.
Man, almost there. Almost there for attention span.
Almost there. He's so close to watching 20 minutes of a movie.
It's Lightning McQueen, bro. Lightning McQueen.
Yeah.
What are some local or small businesses that you're trying to support? Like, I mean, Jimmy, I know the tattoo shop. Barron opened a tattoo shop. You're apprenticing at there. What are some businesses that we could sort of spotlight in this episode? Because, I mean, everyone's hurting right now because of COVID. There's different COVID procedures. So I'm sort of trying to help out where I can. I mean, as this grows, like you said, we have some other names coming in. The reason I'm interviewing, not to jump all over the fucking place. I mean, we've already had 1, 2... Is this my third beer? Second beer? What beer is it, Jimmy?
I'm just about done with my third.
Okay, so it's third beer. Third beer.
Did you hear that? I'm just about done with my third. Thank you so much. Whichever one, it's fine.
Your wife is so nice.
She's good. She's the best.
She's the best.
she's good.
She's good.
I didn't say it like that. You guys sound like that. Shut up.
So, like, what are some things in some downtime, even though you have kids, what are some things in some downtime you really appreciate, you know?
Thank you. So, this is the other sour. Trash plate. Court, why don't you have this one?
You didn't tell me what to
This
Why
is the
don't
only
you
one I didn't
have
want.
this one?
This is other sour. So, being from the North Shore, I'm like big into roast beef sandwiches, you know?
Yes!
Not that I even need to put their name out there because they're killing it, but like Jamie's Roast Beef is a new place in Peabody. It's so much better than like your typical roast beef shop. Their food is just so good. It's like elevated roast beef, you know?
We have, surprisingly, so you know Nick's place, right?
Which one?
Well, any of them. You know how they're like a fucking chain?
Yeah.
Ooh, what's that one?
This is Munchner.
Oh, that's what I'm drinking right now. That one's so good.
We'll see about that.
So, I think you'll like it. It's a Dunkel, I think. Is it a Dunkel?
The Dunkel?
Yeah, it's a Dunkel.
Drunk Uncle?
Drunk Uncle. Drunkle. We have a Nick's place, like, literally, like, 2 exits from us, so it's kind of nice to get, like, a real Massachusetts roast beef sandwich in New Hampshire. There's another good place in Concord, New Hampshire, called Beefside, but, like, that's, like, fucking 25 minutes away, and this other place is, like, 10, so... Priorities.
Beefside's a gross restaurant name.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of uncomfortable, but, like, you know what the funny thing is, like, have you ever watched Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
Yes.
You know Moobies?
Yes.
So Beefside's mascot looks like the fucking Moobies guy. So, like, every time I see it, I'm like, I'm pretty sure you guys stole this logo. Like, I'm pretty sure you're gonna get a cease and desist soon. Oh, Jimmy's gonna Google it now.
Oh, look at it. No, dude. That looks like a movie on crack.
Yeah, it does look like Mooby on
There's
crack.
a pencil behind his ear. That's weird. Why is there a pencil behind his ear?
I have no clue, and it's like
He's ready to take your order.
he's ready to take your order. There you go, bud.
The movie's just like almost like a Barney, but as a cow or something.
Yeah.
Like Mickey Mouse cow, yellow cow. This beef side looks
Get so many
almost questionable.
I feel like we could turn this interview chat into an ASMR with how many times Jimmy just fucking burped and I did.
Yeah, because people love listening to burps.
Hey man, there's people that used to do like mukbangs on Twitch and then they got like banned. They stopped doing that. I don't know if you know what
eating food, right?
Yeah, mukbang is just like the sloppiest noises you can make while having a fucking buffet. Like it's
Sounds like my worst nightmare.
Yeah, man. I'm some sounds kind of like set me on edge, like eating, like certain slapping noises while eating. Yeah, like shit. Like
I still say don't eat pizza with Madison.
why is that?
Oh, because he puts like a gallon of ranch dressing on top of his slice, and folds it in half and slurps it out.
Not anymore. No, I can't eat pizza anymore. I can't eat ranch dressing anymore.
What? You gave him up?
Dairy free.
Dairy free.
Sometimes you get old, you get boring. You stop eating things that are good.
Well, that's the weird thing. So like I'm dairy free now, but I like spicy stuff a lot more now. So like all sorts of different spicy things I've been eating.
So you get to shit your pants in a different way.
Exactly.
It just hurts a little more.
It's a little more solid, but it hurts.
It's spicy because it's spicy, not because it's dairy.
Yeah, exactly.
This is getting gross.
Yeah, I know, huh? Well, fellas, anything you want to shout out before we end the stream? I think we touched on everything that we could touch on for right now. I want to revisit you guys in the future, and also one of the main reasons for doing this stream, I don't know if you've heard in the past ones, but New Hampshire doesn't have a music scene anymore, and I'm sure that you remember the days of like I'm Thirsty Entertainment or New Hampshire Booking, things like that. So like a lot of those things have fallen by the wayside because of COVID and stuff like that. But speaking with Kettlehead Brewing, which is the brewery that I worked for, the one main thing that I'm trying to bring back to New Hampshire is a music scene. And if and when things are safe, people can start going about doing their daily life and concerts are a thing, would Rival Colors or Vallon be interested in playing an outdoor festival that has to do with food and beer? I mean, I'm sure you're going to say yes because it's a given, and Jimmy's had a couple beers, so I figured I'd wait to ask this question till the end, so he's fucking way softer, dude.
Well,
so
it'd have to be Rival Colors, because like you can't have Vallon at a brewery. It would just be weird. Like you can't have people drinking craft beer listening to metalcore.
Why can't you? But I mean, Rival Colors is fine too. I mean, whatever you feel like. But is that something that really?
Okay, how about this? How about a compromise? Madison and I have a dream project that is a 90s alt-rock cover band called Two Princes, where it's just him and I and the Two Princes, and we just play non-stop. Like, let's just do that. That'd probably go over the best.
Hey, remember that time when we had an acoustic show booked and ready to go, and we bought acoustic guitar?
No, don't. That was stupid. Don't bring that up.
That was the worst show because it never happened.
Yeah. Got canceled 1 hour before it loaded.
Oh boy.
We booked like an acoustic show as Rival Colors, and then the guy who ran the bar was like, "Hey, I can't make it, so the show's canceled."
What the fuck?
What, dude? Like, we can run the show.
Yeah, the bar is still open. We're still serving drinks and food, but you guys can't play anymore.
What the fuck?
So that was the worst show we ever played.
Yeah. That was a funny.
But yeah, if you want Rival Colors or Two Princes, we're down.
Is there a costume theme that goes with Two Princes, or just Two Princes?
No, it's just like, look at us. We look like princes. Just as we are.
Is Courtney laughing in the background?
Far
Oh, it's so good. Well, fellas, as soon as I can get this thing off the ground, I will be in contact. I want you guys to play it as Rival Colors. I really enjoy the music. Two Princes. We could do Two Princes, too. If you're going to do fucking Two Princes, then you got to have some sort of costume thing.
We could just throw one Two Princes song into a Rival Colors set.
That's not a bad idea either. That's not a bad idea either.
Presidents of the United States of America.
It seems like Madison's very much into this idea of having Two Princes do...
Madison was the king of that idea. He wanted to be the king of the prince, but Two Princes.
The king of the... Yeah, Two Princes is good. I mean, it's not like you'll have to fight over the throne.
Exactly. Whoever's older is...
Well, fellas, it's been awesome fucking talking to you. I hope that we can do this again. I hope that... Incoming beer. I hope that we can do this outdoor show festival thing. Maybe we could do it towards the end of the summer. I'm going to start working on it with a local radio station as well that I'm going to try and contact as well. But thank you for coming on. It's been really fucking awesome talking to you. Hopefully we can hang out soon. Get to hang out in person. And when we do the repeat episode, we'll probably do it at the brewery.
Sounds good.
So we'll plan something around it, okay? But you guys have a good night. Thank you again, and I hope you enjoy the beers. And Madison, it was fucking awesome talking to you, and have a great night, everyone.
See you later, man. Thanks for having us.
Anytime, buddy.